to another edition of The Hot Seat. I'm your host, Marie Wiese. This is the podcast where we put Microsoft partners in the hot seat and ask them the tough questions about what's going on in their business. And today I am so delighted to have Anil Shah, who's the CEO of CloudFronts, a company that I've recently got to know, and I'm very excited about what they're doing, how they're approaching technology. CloudFronts is a global Microsoft business applications and data and AI solutions partner. They have offices in the US, they have offices in India, 20 years experience in the Microsoft channel. So I can't think of a better person to put in the hot seat than Anil Shah. Welcome to the show, Anil.
Thank you, Marie. I did not know that you were going to ask me tough questions. So.
Yep, they're going to be tough questions. We don't put people in the hot seat lightly. And as Maddie will tell you, we chose the colors of the brand for the hot seat accordingly, like fire orange and bright yellow, because we want to wake everybody up and get them into a mindset about what's changing and what's going on in technology today. And so I was so excited. Anil, I think you and I first met maybe back in October of last year. We met at a conference. We started chatting. I was really impressed with the way you're running your business, the people that you have on board. I think you are a perfect example of this hybrid type of technology provider that's working globally with global companies, but really understanding small business practices. And I think that is very noteworthy because it is a very different customer that we serve on the small business side. They have very different needs. We have to pivot faster with those types of customers. We have to be able to support them in very different ways than we would large enterprises. So I'm going to start off with a tough question for you. I hope you think it's
Bring it on.
All right. So I love the fact, as I've been out speaking at AI events, and I'm just starting to see this movement happening in the Microsoft space. You talk about AI and being an AI first Microsoft partner. What does that mean to you? What does it mean to be an AI first Microsoft partner?
Okay, I'll give it to you. It's a tough question. I'll do my best. I'll take you back a few years in my journey. Thank you for the introduction, Marie. I've been working on Microsoft technologies for the last 20 years. When I started CloudFronts about 10 or 11 years ago, I was a cloud-first partner. And what that really meant was I wanted to enable small and medium businesses faster on the Microsoft business applications infrastructure by putting it on the Microsoft cloud. So that's what meant to be cloud-first. That's the name, CloudFronts. And fast forward today, cloud is established. All of our customers are on cloud business applications. In fact, Microsoft no longer sells on-premise licenses. So everybody's on cloud. It is established as the de facto way to deploy cloud solutions. So today, the same journey is AI first. What that means really is I want to help these same small and medium customers get the most out of their investments on the Microsoft business applications and technology stack by adopting AI. So cloud first then and AI first today, but really it's just customer first.
I like that. And you know, I often will mention, and I think you've heard my story about being in the tech sector for 30 years and seeing these different changes happen.
Yeah.
And you know, we go through these moments when things change. So very dramatic when mobile was first introduced, and we saw what was happening in the mobile sector and how we were starting to adopt a number of different things around data, even before we had these devices that could do what they can do today. We started to see a huge pickup in the internet and what was happening, and we shifted towards that. Software as a service. I was around when software as a service got coined as a term. I was around at the time when working for a large financial services company, And we used to do something called EDI, which was called
Hmm.
electric data interchange. And
Correct.
EDI was evolving to this thing called e-commerce. Nobody knew what e-commerce was. So I've seen shifts happen. And sometimes I think it's a way of the tech sector to create something new so they can go sell something new.
Yeah.
But I truly believe that we're at a pivotal time in history. We are at a pivotal moment right now. Just not just technology, but I would say humanity at large. And I think me personally, I've seen 30 years of data
Yeah.
gathering and how we've found all these new ways to connect to gather more data. So I know you feel very strongly about this, but what role do you think data plays in the AI conversation? And you talk a lot about being data ready. What does that mean?
Let me tell you a little story. Last week I was in hosting a session at the Microsoft Zurich offices. Beautiful event room, overlooking Zurich Airport and Swiss Alps in the background. Sorry, I digress.
No, I love that.
But we were hosting the joint event with one of our Swiss manufacturing customers, whom we've enabled to connect their systems and get their data ready for insights over the last few years, to kind of get them ready for today. That session ended with conversations around AI, how we are helping them adopt AI, and some of our other use cases. But really, our takeaway from that conversation was, in order to leverage AI, data needs to be clean, reliable, and well connected. So that's what that journey towards data meant. That if you have it, if you have that, then your AI conversations adoption will have a fantastic chance. And I do believe and agree with you that we are at that pivotal point. Um, the same story was there with cloud SaaS, last 10, 15 years ago. And today we are at that pivotal point with the adoption and potential adoption of AI, but it's coming at a good speed. So that's why data is key.
Yeah.
Um,
Now, I've seen a lot of different things going on in the tech sector, as I know you have. We've seen a
mhm.
lot of layoffs recently. We've seen a lot of
Yes.
downsizing of big tech organizations, Microsoft
Hmm.
included.
Hmm.
And there's been a very constant conversation about the fact that it's AI taking people's jobs away. And we've studied that topic very closely at Marketing Copilot.
Hmm.
We've spent the last 3 years doing AI research around how it's going to change in the sales and marketing function. What does it mean? So, I've been out and about at a lot of different events recently. And in the Microsoft channel, we have these things called ISVs, people who are developing applications. They're
Yes.
developing software on top of the Microsoft stack.
Hmm.
And I'm starting to get this story kind of bubbling up. So I'm just
Hmm.
going to put it right out there. I know this is a controversial thing to say, but do you think ISVs are going away as Microsoft is talking about AI agents and we're now into an era of agents? What do you think is going to happen?
Well, first, let me say all your questions are tough. But look, well, I'll give an example. We have an ISV customer for whom we developed their sales methodology and put it up on the Dynamics 365 sales platform and put it up on the app source. And we talked last week about how they could use AI to augment their app so that they can get more adoption with salespeople. So, for example, salespeople could talk to the agent and say, hey, can you give me these updates based on this methodology? So they were seeing opportunity. Um, that is one example. If I go back my 20 years, there is SaaS, there is cloud, and today there is AI. And I think I've not seen the future, but what I can predict is everybody must grow, learn, and adopt AI to find the right opportunities. And that's when you'll have luck in your business. And someone said, luck is the intersection of opportunity and preparation. And that's the way I look at things. I would everybody can look at it like that, so that you have it. You wake up with that mindset to grow and to find your opportunities.
I love that quote, and I know our producer Matt Ewell is monitoring us as we're doing this. So Maddie, I hope you pull that quote out because I think that's a great one. And I have to think about our own business and myself personally. I'm not getting any younger, and but I'm excited because I feel like that preparation I've been doing and our company has been doing
Mhm.
for so long around the right sales and marketing methodology is only going to get amplified and beautified. I don't know if that's a word, but I'm gonna create that word for us today, beautified,
You
because
trademark it.
of what we can do with AI and the speed
Yes.
at which we can bring that
Mhm.
along. So I want to ask you, I know you've got a pretty good bird's eye view of what's going on with tools and products, but what's one of the smartest AI tools you've seen on the CRM side for sales teams? Because I know there's been so much talk about Copilot for sales and how that
Mhm.
works on top of your CRM, but I think there's got to be more to it. And I'm dying to know what you think about some of the smarter tools you've seen.
Again, I'll break this into two parts here. So I'll talk about Copilot for sales. On the opportunity, you track your notes, you track your emails, etc. And then there's not this nice Copilot for sales where you click a button, it gives a nice summary of what's happening on that opportunity. If you just continue the traditional way of entering notes and emails, and the the Copilot is a hit or a miss. But if you say, look, this is a result I want to derive with my notes. For example, I want to track my probability, then I want to track whether I'm talking to an influencer or decision maker, and then I want to put my next steps with dates, and I follow a certain format. AI is doing a much better job. So here is an example of making AI smarter. I think the smartest AI app can be what we end up making it do, and what our behaviors and processes have to adapt for that. Um, and second is our own needs. We have a sales team. They're getting onto calls with leads without doing their diligence on whom they are talking to, the size of the customer, etc., and all of that stuff, along with what kind of customer success we have in that industry, market, etc. And we said, what, can we develop an agent? We're calling it Smart Pitch, and we're starting to use it internally. But can we develop an agent that will look at the World Wide Web, get all that information into an MQL SQL? I'm sorry for people who don't know MQL SQL. I feel very intelligent knowing what's
We'll
MQL
we'll
SQL.
we'll we'll explain it.
But when we did that, we realized we led with our own use case, and then we had to do a bunch of learning around how to get AI to give us consistent information and uh, move forward. So the smartest, long answer short, but the smartest AI is a combination of leveraging AI, which is already smart, and making it smarter through our efforts. Um, and I think that's the same thing we do with our kids now, or in any relationship. We invest.
Right, right,
My, although there's a disclaimer, my kids think they're smarter than me.
right. Well, a lot of people do today because they've got AI backing them up. But I think, when you first described, and here, full disclosure to our audience today, Anil did take time to explain to me this tool that they're building called Smart Pitch. The reason I got so excited about Smart Pitch is because I've been in sales for a long time. And the idea of being able to speed up, not just speed up. I think this is the really interesting point about AI that a lot of people aren't quite grasping. And for us older
Mhm.
folks who've been in tech for a long time, we have to stop trying to apply what we knew
Mhm.
to what's happening today because it's very different. So we have this tendency to take what we do in the past or what we were doing offline and trying to apply it online. That's not what AI is about.
It's not.
And another partner that we work with has said something brilliant, which is so simple and yet so brilliant. At the very first level of when you think about AI, it's about psychology and a mind shift. It's about trust and trusting and trying to understand how something works from
Right.
a learning perspective. And we don't trust because it's not a human being. It's not somebody we can look in the eye. It's not somebody we can talk to. And I
Right.
think that the psychology of AI, first and foremost, is what a human being has to wrap their head around.
Mm-hmm.
And leaders have to wrap their head around it, because if leaders don't wrap their head around this, they're not going to take their companies in the right direction, because they're going to
That's
be
correct.
distrustful, or they're not going to understand, because you have to a certain extent, let go. And my team will tell you that it
Mm-hmm.
took me a while to get to the place where I let go and said, I'm just going to see what happens. I'm going to see how this works. So when you first started telling me about Smart Pitch, I got excited, because here's a business process in the sales
Correct.
process that we all
Mm-hmm.
struggle with as salespeople.
Correct.
Being somebody who's implemented marketing automation and CRM for years, that's essentially what we've helped customers and
Mm-hmm.
companies do. We've always had this battle as
Mm-hmm.
non-technologists of trying to connect things, of
Yeah.
getting things to connect together, and almost like those Lego blocks, because we get to a part where we don't have the right Lego block to stick in without doing a massive amount of work from a technical perspective.
Mm-hmm.
So when you told me about Smart Pitch, I got so excited, because I thought, oh my God, the ability to bring all these things together. So
Right.
social media, for example,
Mm-hmm.
space that we call rented. We rent that space. We don't, it's not a pay to play like ads. It's a
Correct.
space where we're participating, but we don't own the platform. We can't control the platform.
Correct.
And as a result, some of the really important tools from a B2B perspective and from a small
Mm-hmm.
business perspective don't connect. They don't
Correct.
connect to the CRM. They don't connect to the marketing
Correct.
automation.
Yes.
We have to go do all this other analysis to figure out,
Mm-hmm.
is this performing? How's this working? Your conversation around Smart Pitch then, and bringing that information together in a simple way, and allowing a salesperson to actually
Yeah.
know, when was the person on our website the last time?
Correct.
What have they been saying in social media? Is just brilliant. And the more
Mm-hmm.
we train that, the
Yeah.
better at it it's going to get, and the more it's going to learn. And
Yeah.
that's sometimes where, as a human being, we have to take that leap of faith. We have to
Yes.
take the leap of faith and say, if I start training this, it's going to do what it needs to do.
Yes.
So my last question, and always the toughest one, if you could give a customer one piece of advice about AI, what would it be?
Look, we've done some AI roadshows in the last few months. We've done some events. We are executing some ideas for our customers, including our own Smart Pitch product. And one thing I have also learned is to let go. And I think the word let go is let go of control. And know that AI is not magic. So we have to lean into the conversation. AI is not magic. Lean into the conversation. Enjoy this journey of, seeing where the challenges are faced in getting AI, get the right data, etc. And so if AI is not magic, we have to get it ready by getting our data ready, trying some use cases, being open to that, to remove that discomfort, that trust, and all the other things that we face as, people who've done business for 10, 20, 30 years. And then what that will do is it will get you to the right place of adoption and success, or massive adoption and massive success with AI over the coming months and years. And the time is now, because things are still evolving and everybody's experimenting. That's what I would say. Start
I
trying.
think that's fantastic advice. And I think we've experienced that ourselves in our business. And I think you're giving really good real world advice to people. I remember when the internet really started to take off, and I would speak to business owners, and I would say, you need to turn your website into something more than just a brochure. You need to make your web presence something that people are going to go to and start the buyer journey. And these CEOs would say to me, nobody is ever going to go to my website before they buy from me. That was back in 2009, 2010. 2011, 2012, social media really started to tip.
Yep.
People were starting to go look people up, realize what was happening.
Mm-hmm.
And these same CEOs came back to me and say, I just lost a deal because somebody went to my website and they didn't think I was a legitimate company. They had a terrible
Correct.
experience on my website and they decided we weren't worth making the investment in. I really believe, and I don't know if you would agree with me on this, that those companies that aren't making an investment in AI right now, that aren't at least trying to experiment, as you said, trying to let go of control, are going to get left behind. Would you agree
No,
with that?
I agree. I'll actually tell you about a real customer of ours, a 150-year-old manufacturing customer. So they've seen one more pandemic in 1920. Okay. They make manufacturing equipment based out of Horsham, Pennsylvania. Everything really, they've seen a lot of stuff, 2 world wars, another pandemic, and so on and so forth. And their VP of Global Operations, who is completely on the dynamic stack, all connected systems, says, Anil, if we don't adopt AI now, I feel we'll get left behind. And he's open to that change. And I know it's hard for him. When I talk to him, I realize, but they know that this is a change that they can't, if they don't adopt, it will be a problem for the business. So
That is a
horse's mouth.
fantastic story. Anybody who's lived through 2 world wars, 2 pandemics,
Correct.
and says we're not going to survive,
Yeah.
that's open thinking. That's
Yeah.
having an open mindset, and I think that's what you need today. Anil, it has been a pleasure having this conversation with you. You and I are going to meet in New York very soon, and we're going to go to
Looking
an AI
forward to it.
roadshow, and we're going to talk about some really exciting stuff in sales and marketing. So please look at the show notes, follow along, see our conversations, and see our journey. I know, Anil, this is going to be the beginning of a beautiful friendship, because I know that your thinking around CRM very much matches our thinking around marketing automation. And I think we've got some great things to do together and some exciting things to explore. And I couldn't agree more. We're at the beginning of this journey with respect to AI. And I just want to thank you for coming on this journey with us.
No, thank you so much and having me on the call. And
a pleasure chatting with you. And if you have more questions for Anil, please follow him on LinkedIn. Please look him up. But having an AI first, starting the conversation with AI first partners is really exciting for us. And we appreciate you being on the show today.
thank you so much. I'll see you next week. Looking forward to our time together in New York.
Wonderful. You've been listening to another episode of The Hot Seat. I'm your host, Marie Wiese, and today my guest was Anil Shah, who's the CEO of CloudFronts, a global Microsoft business application and data and AI solutions partner with offices in the US and India. And I can't wait to see what you do next, Anil. Thanks for being on The Hot Seat.
Thank you so much. Bye, Marie.